How to parent your defiant and strong-willed child. My husband and I have 5 kids. They range in age from the 20s all the way down to the single digits. And I've got to tell you, there's a couple of strong-willed and defiant ones in there, and it wasn't always easy. So how do you parent those kids so that they're being cultivated, so that they can grow up and be successful adults, but you're not being driven crazy, driven to the brink of exhaustion and wondering if you're doing something wrong? Take a breath. You're not alone. Today, I'm going to give you my top 5 principles for parenting a defiant or strong-willed child. These things can bring more peace to your home, more harmony to your relationships, and help you to know that you are a good parent, you are doing your best, and you're not doing anything wrong. Stick around.
Guild Coaching. More success, less stress.
Parenting is not always easy. Sometimes it's fun. I've said that being a mom is the best job in the world. It's my favorite thing. Sometimes I need a break. We all do. And it's especially true for parents who end up with a defiant child. When my daughter was little, I was wondering why so many parents wanted to hire babysitters and get away from their kids, because I had a pretty easy baby. And then the second one came along, and it was a different story. It was a different personality. She was defiant. She was challenging. She always seemed to be pushing the limits. And I thought, where did I go wrong? Why is it so different? And it's because everybody is different. You're not a bad parent if you're feeling like you need answers. It's just that you don't have the skills at this moment to parent that difficult, controlling, strong-willed, or defiant child. But you're about to, because today I'm giving you my top 5 principles for successfully parenting a defiant child with grace and peace and confidence. The goal here, the long-term vision, is for you to have a good communicative relationship with your child or your children, so that as they grow, you're each ready to assume your new role. That means as your child grows and earns more independence, you're ready to release certain areas, and you know your role with each other as you move ahead. So if you don't have something to take notes with, no problem. Open up the comment section here. Every single time we're here together, I'm always telling you to take notes, and the reason is that it helps to reinforce your learning. So open up the comment section and use that as your notepad if you're not like me and you don't carry around a pad of paper to take notes at any given moment. I always have my pen and paper handy. So make sure that you take notes so that you don't miss a second of what we have today. Point number 1, know that your strong-willed or defiant child is really just an experiential learner. What does that mean? I'll explain. Experiential learners need to learn with all of their senses. You have some people who are really great audible learners. They can, with their eyes closed, listen to what's going on around them and learn best through hearing. You have some people who are really great visual learners. You show them a chart, you let them read, and that's really a great way for them to learn. Then you have other people like me who need both of those things. I'm an audio and visual learner. And then you have the experiential learners. The experiential learners can hear it, see it, experience those things together, and still not totally get the learning experience until they go into it themselves. These are the kids that will understand that the stove is hot, but until they touch it themselves, they won't connect the full meaning. These are the kids that understand, don't run into the street or you get hurt, but they don't really get it until they hear the honk of the car and hear the screech of the tires, mom screaming, and then somebody grabs them out of the way. Okay, they're experiential learners. They're not doing it to drive you crazy, I promise. They're doing it because it's their learning style. 95% of defiant children are experiential learners. So if you are the parent of a defiant child, you likely are parenting an experiential learner. They're going to want things that they can do with their hands, things that they can dive into with their whole self. They want to smell it, they want to taste it, they want to feel it, in addition to hearing and seeing. So understand that they need more of their five senses involved in all of their learning experiences. It might be why sometimes when you tell them something again and again and again, you start to get frustrated because the point has been made. Am I right? But they're not getting it, and it's because they really have to experience that. So branch out. It's a space of growth for you to try to bring in new examples. Maybe it's through, video, maybe it's through taking a walk. Maybe you can come up with different ways to explain things to your kids or actually walk them through it so that they can make those connections. Understand that your defiant child is most likely an experiential learner, and that is what seems so difficult to you. They're just trying to go through life in a way that makes sense to them. Most strong-willed people desire mastery. That can drive other people up the wall, especially parents. But parenting a strong-willed child or a defiant child is an additional challenge for you. You have to understand that their constant quest for what they want or the vision or the focus that they see in their life isn't because it's opposite of what you want for them, or it's also not because they're just trying to mess things up. It's because they're really trying to find every outlet that they can possibly explore to take themselves to the next level. This isn't a bad thing. Your defiant child may be defiant because they're a free thinker that is going to find new avenues, new routes for solutions for the universe. These are some of our greatest inventors. The reason that we have electricity and the wheel and, science researchers, people who come up with cures for diseases. These are people who challenge the status quo a little. When you look at it in that way, a scientist in a research lab trying to cure cancer, it seems inspirational. Doesn't seem so inspirational when it's your 4-year-old or your 7-year-old or your 13-year-old. But please take a step back, take a breath, and try to see it as a strength. Understand that this defiance may not be defiance at all. They may just be pushing the boundaries to see where the boundaries either need to be changed or expanded or reshaped. Your defiant child could be the next world-renowned genius, Nobel Peace Prize winner. You never know. So understand that their constant defiance might just be getting mislabeled. It may be their constant quest for mastery. Looking at it with that little bit of a mindset tweak helps to soften the perspective as a parent. Those first 2 points really have to do more with your mindset than practical application parenting techniques. But this third one is for practical application. You have to give your kid choices. That sounds like a lot of work sometimes, right? But it works. Now, age-appropriate choices. You're not going to let a 2-year-old pick his own preschool or his own elementary school because he doesn't have the right tools to weigh a decision of that gravity. But you can let him choose between bananas and strawberries. Always, in every opportunity that you have, give your child choices. Do you want to wear the red sneakers or the blue sneakers today? Do you want to wear your hair up or down? Would you like to play this game for 5 more minutes, or would you like to go play on your swing? Find little opportunities to give your defiant child choices. The reason is because your defiant child is an experiential learner, because your defiant child desires mastery, your defiant child also has a deep, deep need to be able to forge his or her own path. Only by setting the boundaries of that path will you be able to also exercise the control that you should have as a parent, while keeping peace in your household, making sure that your mindset is steady, and empowering your defiant child by allowing him or her to know that you respect, admire, and trust enough to let them pick something, anything. And it doesn't even have to be a big deal. Little tiny choices to a kid means a whole lot, and it means more than you may think. Don't give more than 3 choices. Studies have actually shown that people who are given more than 3 choices have a higher stress level during their decision-making process. So 2 or 3 choices is totally fine. So you could say to your son, you have 15 minutes of free time. Do you want to play video games? Do you want to ride your bike? Or would you like me to read to you? And then let him pick which one of those activities for the 15 minutes and then stick with that structure. It's all about choices, and it speaks love to them and it speaks trust to them, and that's what they want, because above all, they actually want to please you. Number 4, one of the biggest complaints I hear from parents is that they have major power struggles with these headstrong, strong-willed, defiant kids. It really comes down to you and your boundaries. Defiant kids will say that they don't like routines, but just watch. When you have defined boundaries and a set routine, it really helps them to thrive because they need that structure. That structure helps define where they end, where you begin, where their choices end, where their right to choices end, where they're predetermined for them. And that helps to build confidence and security, not just for strong-willed children. This is true for all of us. We need routine and structure to help us be the best version of ourselves. The way that having routine and structure really helps mom and dad when they need a break is that it removes the fight. If there's already a set routine that's just laid out for everybody, then there's nothing to discuss because that's just how it is. It pulls you out of the conversation when there's something that's established, just like a law. You don't fight with anybody over what a stop sign means or a red light. So it has that same kind of an impact and effect in your household. I'm friends with a family that has a very established bedtime. The children don't even need to be told that it's time to go to bed because there's a clock that makes a certain noise. And when the kids hear that chime of that clock, they just all get up and go and start their nighttime routines because that is what has been established in the household. It's a well-oiled machine. And even if your household has a bit more mayhem than that, you can get there in baby steps by setting your boundaries now and setting a strong and established routine. My parenting principle number 5 is simple and complex all at the same time. It's respect. Many years ago, before I had my first child, while I was pregnant with her, I asked a friend of mine how his kids were so responsible and kind and loving. They would do laundry without being asked to do it. They would just do it. And he said, simple. 2 things. 1, when they were born, I knew that they were as intelligent or more intelligent than I was. And I always treated them with respect, knowing that they were as or more intelligent as he was. And number 2, he said he was always looking for their next threshold of responsibility. The first responsibility of a baby when you bring them home from the hospital is to sleep through the night. The next responsibility may be to roll over or intake solid food, something along that line. So if you continue to move up with that person's next threshold stage of growth, then you're allowing them to rise to the next best level of themselves. You're always encouraging them to expand their skill level and become the new you in your new tomorrow. This helps your defiant child, this helps your strong-willed child by cultivating a positive communication relationship. Because the last thing that you want is to scream and yell, slam doors, throw things, do things like that. All of those actions do not speak respect. So if you can, with respect, speak with your child, with respect, deliver instructions or requests or FYIs, regardless of how the child answers you, if you can always speak with respect and deliver respect, then you're setting the tone there, and it will help to even reinforce the structure that we talked about in point number 4. And it will help to increase that child's respect and admiration of you. You may not see immediate results with this one, but if you put it into practice starting right now, even if you've been the most screaming mama in the world, if you put this to effect right now, over time, you will see major changes, not only in the way that your kids think, act, react, perform in different areas, but you'll also see major positive changes in your communication with them and your relationship and the depth of that relationship and the trust that's there. If this video has been of any help to you, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so you'll know the next time that we drop a video to help you live a life with lower stress, more happiness, and more success. I'm Dr. Jane with Guild Coaching, and I'll see you next time.